January 18th on this day, in 532, the Nika uprising in Constantinople failed, resulting in the deaths of around 30,000 people, as troops loyal to Emperor Justinian I crushed the revolt in the Hippodrome. In 1486, King Henry VII of England married Elizabeth of York, uniting two rival royal families after years of civil war. In 1591, King Naresuan of Siam defeated Crown Prince Minchit Sra of Burma in single combat, an event now commemorated as Royal Thai Armed Forces Day. In 1701, Frederick III, Elector of Brandenburg, became the first king of Prussia. In 1778, Captain James Cook discovered the Hawaiian Islands, naming them the Sandwich Islands in honor of Lord Sandwich, the First Lord of the Admiralty. In 1779, Peter Mark Rodgett, an English physician, philologist, and the compiler of Roget's Thesaurus, was born in London. In 1782, Daniel Webster, the renowned American orator, congressman, senator, and Secretary of State, was born in New Hampshire. In 1788, the first ships of the First Fleet arrived at Botany Bay, Australia, carrying hundreds of convicts from England to establish a penal colony. In 1817, Argentine General José de San Martín led a revolutionary army in a daring crossing of the Andes Mountains to attack Spanish royalists in Chile. In 1836, Jim Bowie arrived at the Alamo to assist Texas defenders during the Texas Revolution. In 1858, Daniel Hale Williams, the physician who performed the first successful open-heart surgery and founded Chicago's Provident Hospital, was born. In 1862, former United States President John Tyler was buried at Hollywood Cemetery in Richmond, Virginia. In 1871, the Second German Empire was proclaimed, with Kaiser Wilhelm I and Otto von Bismarck leading the unification. In 1882, A. A. Milne, the British author who created Winnie the Pooh, was born in London. In 1892, Oliver Hardy, the celebrated film comedian known for his partnership in Laurel and Hardy, was born. In 1910, aviator Eugene Ely piloted the first successful takeoff and landing of an aircraft from a ship in San Francisco Bay. In 1912, British explorer Robert Falcon Scott and his team reached the South Pole, only to find that Roald Amundsen had beaten them by a month. Tragically, Scott and his men died while attempting to return. In 1916, Russian forces pushed back the Turkish Third Army to Erzurum during World War I. In 1942, General Douglas MacArthur repelled Japanese forces in Bataan during World War II, as the United States began leading war crimes trials in the Far East. In 1943, the Soviet Union announced it had broken the long Siege of Leningrad by opening a narrow land corridor, although the siege would not be fully lifted until the following year. In 1943, the United States banned the sale of pre-sliced bread in order to save on labor and equipment costs during World War II. In 1944, Paul Keating, who later became the Prime Minister of Australia and leader of the Australian Labor Party, was born in Sydney. In 1945, the German army launched its second attempt to relieve the besieged city of Budapest from the advancing Soviet Red Army. In 1948, Mahatma Gandhi ended a 121-hour fast after helping to halt violence between Muslims and Hindus in India. In 1958, Willie O'Ree became the first black athlete to play in a National Hockey League game when he debuted with the Boston Bruins against the Montreal Canadiens. In 1962, the United States began spraying herbicides over forests in South Vietnam to expose hiding places of Viet Cong guerrillas, marking an early chapter in Operation Ranch Hand. In 1964, plans for the construction of the World Trade Center in New York City were disclosed to the public. In 1974, the television series The $6 Million Man, starring Lee Majors, premiered on the American Broadcasting Company network. In 1978, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention isolated the cause of Legionnaire's disease. In 1980, Pink Floyd's double album The Wall reached #1 on the music charts. In 1983, the International Olympic Committee restored the gold medals of American athlete Jim Thorpe for his victories in the pentathlon and decathlon at the 1912 Olympics, 70 years after the medals were stripped due to amateurism rules. In 1986, Martin Luther King Jr. Day was celebrated for the first time as a national holiday in the United States. In 1991, during the Gulf War, Iraq began launching Scud missiles at cities in Israel. In 1996, Lisa Marie Presley filed for divorce from Michael Jackson in New York City, ending a high-profile celebrity marriage. In 2002, the civil war in Sierra Leone was officially declared over. The conflict had resulted in more than 50,000 deaths and displaced around 2 million people. In 2011, American diplomat and administrator R. Sargent Shriver, the first director of the United States Peace Corps, died at age 95. In 2023, Jacinda Ardern, New Zealand's youngest prime minister in more than a century and a half, announced her resignation from office.
Subscribe so you don't miss tomorrow's events.